Okay, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. I talked to your buddy AJ yesterday, so we'll,
Yeah,
we'll
that's my
get
guy.
we'll get into that a little bit here in a minute. But I wanted to start off by asking you when you went into the portal, what caused you to be interested in Arkansas?
I mean, it's a pretty easy place to be interested in. I mean, playing college baseball, it's like seems perennially, there's a regional in Fayetteville, and that's a special thing. So, uh, just knowing their reputation for having a winning culture, having the best fans in college baseball, and having the best facilities in college baseball, it was a really easy place to be interested in for me.
Now, in this COVID thing, there are all these virtual visits. Typically you might actually go on campus and talk to coaches face to face and look at the facilities. How were you able to do all of that kind of virtually?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of film online or that the coaches sent to me of the whole facility and where I'll be training, classrooms, all of that. So I was able to see locker room, field, indoor facilities, virtual reality stuff, and all that. So, um, that's you got the best facilities in college baseball. I don't need too much convincing that I'm going to like what I see on a visit.
Have you? Clearly, you've never been to Baum, right? You've never been to watch a game at Baum
No,
Stadium. Have people
no.
told you about it? What it's like?
Yeah, so I've heard
This thing is
talking
going.
to my, it was brisk, it was probably 35 or 40 degrees out, and there was still, 10,000 fans, every weekend. He said they played 4 game set there, and it was 8,000 plus every game. So he's like, if there's no better atmosphere that he's ever played in.
You may have to get used to the fact that in late February into March, there'll be some games under colder conditions. Have you ever played in
Well,
temperatures in the 40s?
oh, I played plenty colder than that. I lived in Boston when I was younger, when I
Right.
was in second and third grade, and then I played my freshman year at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. So that was, upstate New Hampshire is a pretty cold place that time of the year. So we were playing in the teens and the 20s for a good portion of the year.
Okay, so the way AJ described this was that you decided to go to Arkansas first, and then you were telling him about that, and then he was like, "Okay," and then you started saying, "You need to come too," and he was like a little shocked, and then you started trying to convince him, and at the same time you were lobbying Coach Van Horn. Let's get your side of that whole thing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how it went. I mean, I committed, and then AJ hopped in the portal, and Coach Hobbs contacted him straight away, and he texted me, "Hey, Coach Hobbs just talked to me, but you know, I'm not so sure about that." And then I took a second to think about it, and I was like, well, you know, every team needs two catchers. Who would you rather go through an entire year with, training with, and who could make you the best player that you could be? I was like, well, if they're bringing in another catcher, I mean, I would 1,000% rather have AJ on my team than have him be someone we were playing against. And um, you know, I have no doubt it's going to take a special effort to win a national championship, and it's going to take us being 35 guys deep. Um, so yeah, he talked to Coach Hobbs, and Coach Thompson texted me about something else, and I texted him right away. Hey, AJ Lewis, one of my best friends, totally special individual. I'm going to do everything I can to get this guy here. So he called me. Like, I sent the text, and 5 seconds later, I got a call from Coach Thompson. He's like, "Hey man, we were going to need to talk to you about this, just because we were going to talk to you if we were going to bring in another catcher, but tell us what you got on AJ, because we were just sitting in the office saying, hey, these two guys played together last summer." So it's a pretty unique thing, and yeah, it's I feel like it's worked out as the best case scenario for both of us.
Arkansas typically you want defensive skills from your catcher, and that's important. But Van Horn has gone after guys that can hit most of the time. And what I've noticed is, especially a lot of times, he'll have one guy that's playing most of the time. Maybe they'll rest a catcher in a midweek game or whatever. But once you're in a conference play, you're playing a lot. And I've talked to catchers from Arkansas as they got toward the end of the season, and their average dips. And they don't hit with the same power, and they've all said it's your legs. They start to go a little bit. And the way AJ described this to me yesterday, he said, we can spell each other. We can stay fresh by me playing, him playing back and forth. And he said pretty much like what you said about trying to be the best, win a national championship. Do you look at it that way? Like it's not going to be one of you guys wins the job and the other's just not going to play much, that you'll both play?
Oh, I think certainly we'll both play. I mean, I think it would just be a waste of either of our talents if one of us was underutilized. So I think, definitely, I think for us to play deep into June, that'll be a very good thing for both of us to spell each other, like you said, and not miss a beat defensively or offensively behind the plate. And we can, AJ can play all over. I can play first base. I played left field. So, I don't think there's any concern on our part about, one guy getting pigeonholed and the other guy kind of spelling him. I think we both realize that it's a really long season. It's going to take a special effort, and we want to be playing our best baseball in June. So if we're going to do that, it's going to take two guys being back there.
I don't know how much you know about the team going into the fall and going into next year, but most people feel like they're going to be loaded. There are going to be a lot of high school guys that might have signed that aren't going to because of the whole situation, money in the draft, and there'll be guys coming back maybe because of that extra year, and they're going to be a bigger roster, and so there's a feeling this team is going to be loaded in ways that it never has been. I mean, is that your impression?
I certainly hope so. I just see the depth we're bringing in on the graduate transfers, Lockhart and Bracken, myself and AJ, and I know we're in the mix for I don't remember his name exactly, but the power hitter from Central Connecticut. So, and especially, can you imagine a world where Matt Goodhart and Zebulon Vermillion would come back, and go undrafted? I mean, that's a pretty special opportunity for this team. So yeah, I would hope that this year we would have a much deeper talent than we had in years past.
Now, AJ said he's not the kind of guy to come in right away and start trying to take over. I mean, are you the 6th year guy and he's the 5th year, or is that the other way around? I don't know which one.
Yeah, that's going to be my 6th year.
Okay, so you guys have been around the block. And I asked him, hey, you're going to come in and immediately assume a leadership role? And he said, I don't know that I work that way. He said, when you make a big jump from one team to the next, you got to fit in. And he said, especially early on, I'll probably be pretty low key. And he said it really made him feel good to know that he had somebody coming in with him, that maybe the first week or so, he's still got somebody that he knows. I mean, do you feel that way about him? And how quickly do you think you guys will adjust?
From what I've heard about the team, they have a really good culture, focus on winning, and in the locker room, they're a really close team. So, I played with Goodhart and Zebulon in Orleans last summer, and they were both great team guys, and both guys, that kept it loose in the locker room. So, really what I want to do is just get in there and get to know every guy, start building the relationship with all the pitchers, and get in lockstep with the coaches and the players on how things are done at Arkansas. And just, I'd like to build some trust and build some relationships first before I feel like I need to lead. I think this team probably has plenty of leadership. I just want to come in there and do my job and help the pitchers as much as I can. And I think that'll leave us in a pretty good spot. Certainly having AJ Lewis. That guy's been one of my best friends for this whole past year. We've checked in with each other weekly on the phone pretty much this whole season. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really special thing for us to get to go and push each other to see how good we can get in a year and compete for a national championship.
Yeah, by all accounts, there's a pretty good culture in that locker room. Robert Moore came in last year as a 17-year-old. He still should be in high school. He's out there playing SEC. Never got to the SEC, but he was playing major college baseball in the SEC, and he did. I think he just gotten his driver's license. And on media day, one of the guys was over there kidding him, asking if if he could drive yet, and he said, "Well, I hang around with my buddies over at Fayetteville High School, and then after school, I come over here and just sort of hang out with you guys, so I feel more." He was joking, they were joking, and that was just kind of a way of dealing with a newcomer. So the culture seems pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I heard about all the nicknames he had. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Um, they just had a kind of a vote by the NCAA today to let basketball players, football players, women's basketball, let them all come back on June 1st. They didn't really clear it for other sports yet, certainly not baseball. And I don't know if have any idea when that might happen, but Coach Van Horn made the point all the way back when this first started that college baseball teams have lost about 2/3 of their season. These athletes don't have the normal summer ball they have, and something needs to be done rather than just bring them into school and expect them to do a normal fall ball thing. Do you think there's any chance you guys will be able to come in before school starts?
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, and that's my sentiment that I've communicated to the coaches is that as soon as things open up, even at all, I'm going to pack my car up and head out there just because I only have a year out there and I want to maximize my time and get up to speed with the team as quickly as possible. So that's really what I'm hoping for, and hopefully, I mean, I didn't know that they had voted to open things back up to football and all them on June 1st, but hopefully I can get out to campus and the team can get back out there at least by I don't know, July 1st, so that we can have some semblance of summer ball or training or anything just to get us back into a routine and get us back on a consistent program.
Yeah, again, Coach Van Horn mentioned the possibility or something he would push for would be maybe even some scrimmage games, and certainly more you typically get 2 of these exhibition games in the fall. He wanted like 10 or 12, and maybe even some 2 or 3 of them in August, again to try and make up for what you guys lost, because normally you're playing your normal college baseball season, then it's all summer ball. It's an unbelievable number of games that have been lost, and he just saw that as a way to make that up.
Yeah, I mean, I would jump at any opportunity to make it up. I mean, the way I look at it is, I would be about 300 at bats into the season right about now, and pretty dialed into what I was trying to do in the box. And there's just not really a substitute for all those at bats. So yeah, like I said, I would jump at any opportunity to get any amount of at bats this summer.
Well, we appreciate you visiting with us, and we'll look forward to you when it does open up. We look forward to coming over and talking to you guys. I don't know how quickly they'll let us come over, but that's beside the point. But good luck.